Good afternoon, everyone. Buenas tardes. How's everyone enjoying this week? Wonderful. Great to hear. My name is Augusto Cruzalegui, and I'm here on behalf of the Home Depot. And I'm very pleased to welcome you to Meet the Craftinos. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm very proud to be representing the Home Depot here at Hispanicize. This is a very important season for us. It's spring. And it is a time that means action for the Home Depot. And now that spring is here, actually, it's a good time to plan, to build, to prepare, to enjoy with family, friends, and do all those wonderful things that make life such a wonderful experience in casa, right? So you will all have a chance to be surprised and delighted if you come visit our booth, number 45. So a little promotion of where we're located. Come visit us. Take a photo of some of the featured products that we have brought for you. Upload it to your Twitter, and then just wait to be delighted and surprised. And we will be doing this every day through the end of the week. So now it's my pleasure to introduce to you the Craftinos. The Craftinos are 4 of the top Latino and Latina do-it-yourselfers, designers, and crafters that are here to inspire us all this afternoon. So I want to introduce each and every one of them to you. First, we have Martín Amado.
Hi, guys.
Who is a TV personality, interior decorator, lifestyle expert, and contributing writer on the subject of home decor. For over 9 years, he's been the host designer on the home makeover segment Room for Improvement, airing here in Miami. And in addition to his work in the general market, Martín can be seen as the designer on the home makeover program Decorando Contigo, airing nationally in the United States and throughout Latin America on the Spanish language Galavisión network. Martín also works exclusively with clients through his home styling company, The Wow Factor, where he specializes in one-day makeovers and working with a minimal budget to achieve the decorated look for less. Welcome, Martín.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for being here as well.
Next, we have Denise Cortez, who is the creative director at PearMama.com, a blog about a Latina mom raising 6 kids and infusing art and culture into family life. A Southern California native, go Riverside. Denise shares fun DIY craft projects, thoughts on Latino culture, creating art on Tom's shoes, and writing heartfelt parenting stories about her children, ages 8 to 16. Denise is also a contributing writer for Baby Center, LatinaMom.me, and Mamiverse. And she was also named one of the 37 Latina bloggers you must know in 2014 by Latina Magazine. So welcome, Denise. Next, we have Kathy Caro Murillo, who's an author, artist, and founder of the award-winning site CraftyChica.com. A former syndicated newspaper columnist for the Arizona Republic, she has authored 9 books, including Crafty Chica's Art de la Sol, Crafty Chica's Guide to Artful Sewing, and the novels Waking Up in the Land of Glitter and Miss Scarlett's School of Patternless Sewing. Her handmade work has been sold at Bloomingdale's, Target, and hundreds of boutiques around the country. Her Crafty Chica product line is sold at a high-profile end cap in Michael's stores every fall. She can be seen as a guest on shows on HGTV, DIY Network, and Lifetime. Kathy's mission is to share positivity through creativity. Welcome, Kathy. And last but not least, we have Vanessa Vargas Wilson, the Crafty Gemini. She is known for posting clear and concise instructional videos on her YouTube channel, The Crafty Gemini. A law professor turned mompreneur, Vanessa shares her lifestyle and crafty skills with a global audience via the web. The Crafty Gemini channel has over 120,000 subscribers and 11 million views. Vargas Wilson teaches viewers how to do everything from sewing and quilting to organic gardening and canning. Welcome, Vanessa. So again, hello to all our Craftinos, and thank you to each and every one of you for inspiring us this afternoon. And I'd also like to thank you on behalf of the Home Depot for giving us the opportunity to be here with you at this very important event and for allowing us to introduce this very interesting group of people. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to your moderator, Mando Rayo, who is the author of the book Austin Breakfast Tacos. And you can find him at blogger@tacojournalism.com. Mando.
All right. I told Manny we need to serve tacos. Come on. It's America. Thank you, Craftinos. You say Craftinos, I say blogueros. So how many blogueros do we have here at the session? Any bloggers? Raise your hand. What kind of bloggers do we have out there? Lifestyle, fashion, beauty, hair. Good. No taco competitors. Good. That's the way I like it. That's the way I like it. It's okay. You guys can become hashtag taco cousins, empanadas, pupusas. It's all good. Well, today we're gonna, talk about a little bit about kind of obviously our bloggers' expertise, how they got started, what makes creative posts, and how to grow your audience. And, for us, just kind of, what was said before was, how do you really grow your blog? Where do you start, Do you start from one post and then you have to do, 10 a week? I don't know. For me, it all depends on what I'm craving, obviously, and how many taquerias I can hit up in a week. I had a salad for lunch, FYI, had a salad for lunch. And so that's kind of what we'll be talking about today. Most of the attention will be right over here. These guys are great. And then we'll go over some of these questions. And definitely, it's a small group, it's an intimate group, so feel free to ask questions along the way. I don't think, we seem pretty relaxed. So if you have a quick question, please feel free to ask. You don't have to wait till the end. And then we'll wrap it up in 50 minutes or so, right? Cool. All right. Now, if I can take out my handy dandy note taker. There you go. I guess let me ask you this question to the audience. Why do you think it's important for bloggers to really develop kind of a do-it-yourself movement? From your perspective. Yes, right over here.
To me, it seems like the nature of blogging is that it's independent from everything else.
Uh-huh.
You have to own that independence.
That's right, yeah. How about over there?
For me, it's because, for example, a lot of my readers come from all over the world, and they don't always have access to what we have here in the U.S.
Uh-huh.
They can do it themselves from home. If they can whip up a hair gel in the kitchen.
Yep.
They have access to what I have access to, and I think that's power. So.
Yeah, empowering. Very good, very good. Somebody else? It's also a great opportunity to grow your brand, get your numbers out there. And I think if we were talking about this earlier, if you're passionate about what you do, with a P there, the P, I think, people will come to you. If you're a resource for folks, they're going to come to you and they'll keep coming back as long as your content is relevant and up to date and you stick to what you do, right?
I feel like blogging by nature it's just a creative act to begin with. You have to be creative to write your photography. So it seems to go hand in hand, the DIY spirit.
Right, exactly. So whether you're really doing DIY for tacos, I do that every day, to actual crafts, to style, to lifestyle, to your hair. I think blogging is a great platform, and now you have so many resources. Back I think when probably a lot of us got started, there was this thing called Blogger. It was in the 90s. It was pre-Yelp, pre-Twitter.
The main thing with adding DIY and crafts to your site is that people are hungry for information. They're hungry for ways to save money and to express themselves. So it doesn't mean you have to put a project every single day. Just by incorporating DIY, it will significantly help your traffic numbers. It will get you more of a broader audience to your site, and it will show that you're an expert on inspiration and sharing creativity. And DIY is such a broad term now. for, how to make your own shampoo, to how to mix your own chalk paint. I mean, there's a lot of fun variations, and that's what I love about our panel is we all have different aspects of how we incorporate, which we have on our slides.
Yeah, yeah. So so it's good transition. We'll go ahead for each of you. Everybody's going to have a few slides that they're going to share about kind of their blog and their interests and their focus. And then we'll go into some of the specific questions. So you want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, so I just put a few snapshots of when I first launched my blog in 2003 is I got tired of going to the store and not finding any cool contemporary Latino things to decorate my house with or things to wear. So I started making them, and I started sharing the tutorials, and lo and behold, there was a market out there of people who wanted the same things as I did. So this just kind of shows the evolution of the site, how it started, and this is where it's at right now.
Okay. There we go.
So I have different things that have branched off of Crafty Chica. I have a product line, I do online workshops, contests, giveaways, and partnerships. These are all benefits that can come from having tutorials and crafts or whatever kind of DIY on your site. You can work with different companies, you can develop a product line, you can teach online workshops. There's just a lot of opportunities for revenue and partnerships.
It's not a Mac, so it's slow.
Oh, okay. So what I do is a mixture of my own inspiration and trends. So, last year, a couple years ago, tie-dye was very big. So I did a spin. Instead of doing a tie-dye shirt, I did tie-dye roses and how to make tie-dye hair extensions. So I went into beauty and I went into floral. And so it's just putting a different spin on a trend to make it stand out from everybody else's. These are the types of projects that I found are the most successful. So if you do decide to incorporate DIY into your content, know that the most popular projects are ones that are solution-based, that solve a problem, sharing a technique, some that are functional, and also ones that are easy and low cost. So that's just markers on a wood bangle. That one is solving a problem. It's a little chair caddy to put your laptop in when you're at a restaurant or a coffee shop. How to make your own molds. This is just painting bricks for your garden, and taking a pair of shoes and painting oilcloth inspired flowers. And these were all like viral type of projects for those reasons, because they solve problems. Also, wow factor is a big one. Think big. Think things that make you say wow. Believe it or not, make your own rainbow chonies was very popular. And then this one, Day of the Dead, is always huge. I mean, that's all of us probably, that's one of our top things. Anything repetitive, like this candy dot t-shirt. I did thousands of dots of dimensional paint to look like candy. So anything that's graphic and a large amount of numbers, it's small, looks good. Like the rose-covered headboard. And then a glitter, how to glitter your floor. That's one of my top tutorials. So if you want a big, traffic win, think like that wow factor that just people go, oh my God, I can't believe it. And maybe it'll take a while to put it together, but it'll be worth it in the long run. And then one of the other top ones is Corpse Bride. We did a tutorial, and that was, my daughter was like 11 years old then, and that's still one of my top tutorials, is how to create that look. And also pay attention to different holidays, like for National Dog Day, I did 10 DIYs for your pooch. That still, even outside of the holiday, it's still popular. And 8 must-have supplies from the dollar store. So think of list also, helpful list. And that's it. I'll go to the next one. do.
Because I'm not so artsy, I can't make, in my mind it looks a certain way, but then when I do it, it's just,
Well,
no,
I
it's
mean,
cute.
that's the beauty of it, is you have the original that's your inspiration, but then you take it and put your own spin on it, and that's when the magic will happen. And yes, I do, and we call it the crafty hustle, because I teach workshops, I have over 3,000 tutorials on my blog. I like to post a new project every single day, I'm a craftaholic, and I make stuff to sell. And the product line, so every aspect of it, there's an angle.
So while he's bringing mine up, let me just say something about the DIYs for those of you that may not be DIY crafters. If you're lifestyle bloggers and things like that, and you're considering incorporating some DIY type projects in your content, like Kathy was saying, that it helps up your numbers and things like that, and you may not be thinking, well, how exactly does that do that? Well, DIY projects and tutorials are evergreen, right? They don't expire. So even if you're doing something about like a Harry Potter movie that comes out and you're doing a DIY project on something like that, because it's a tutorial, even though it has to do with Harry Potter, if you did like a spoof video, it's gonna be done a couple months after the movie comes out and nobody's looking for it no more. But because it's a tutorial, 10 years from now, I can go back and find how to do her glitter floor. Her daughter's sitting in the room, she's 21 right now. She said the video, the tutorial she did, she was 11. It's evergreen, the stuff doesn't expire, so it's constantly out there, still pulling in new viewers, new audience, new unique visitors to your site and things like that. So regardless of what topic you blog on, definitely consider incorporating DIY in there. So, okay, we'll start here. This is a little snippet of, okay.
Hold on, this thing's running amok.
Right there.
Right
Okay.
there.
So my brand name is Crafty Gemini. That's the name of my blog. You can find me. These are my main platforms. So mainly I'm a video creator, and my YouTube channel is The Crafty Gemini. I do have a Spanish channel called La Crafty Gemini, but I'm still trying to find a way where I can create Spanish videos and not lose my mind, right? Because you have to do everything twice. But this is my blog. You can find me at craftygemini.com. And I started off doing mostly sewing and quilting video tutorials, and now it's branched out into like a full-blown lifestyle brand, where now I'm like, I lost 70 pounds last year, so now people in my video tutorials, they've seen me lose weight, so they're like, how did you do it? So now I have to do like Weight Loss Wednesday videos, and you know, you gotta keep feeding the audience what they want. And now that my kids are not babies anymore, they're growing a little bit bigger, so now we're doing like homeschooling videos. And so I do all kind of tutorials, and so I just wanted to share with you all, when I first started, people were like, well, stick to what you do best. And I'm like, but I'm a Gemini. I'm like all over the place, right? I like to do a little bit of everything. And so you don't necessarily have to stick with one thing. Just make sure that you're good at it or that you enjoy it. Passion is always going to be the underlying factor. I worked literally, I've sat down before and tallied up my hours, and I work like over 60 to 70 hours a week. Excuse me. And so I don't just sit at home and do this like, oh, for fun. You know what I mean? Like, this is a full-blown business, and you have to look at it that way. Just a little bit of background. I started on YouTube in 2009. I uploaded videos for about 2 years. I didn't know you could monetize it. I just did it for fun whenever I got a chance. In 2011, I was accepted into the YouTube Partner Program, which allows you to make money off the videos you're posting. If you don't yet have a YouTube channel, regardless of what your brand is, I suggest you go home tonight to youtube.com and start an account with whatever your brand name is. Try to keep everything consistent across the board. So like if you're using your name for your blog, keep it your name on your YouTube channel, your name. You type in Crafty Chica, all her stuff is gonna pop up. You type in Crafty Gemini, that's all you're gonna find is my stuff, you know? So keep it consistent. I was selected as one of 25 winners for YouTube Next Up. And at this point, I had like 1,000 subscribers. I was like, you know, I was doing my thing and people liked it, but I was like, nobody. But, you know, I was like, on the list of the 25 winners, I was the second from the bottom up with the lowest amount of subscribers. They gave us a $35,000 grant, and we did all this kind of stuff, and that's when I really realized, like, you know what, this could be a business. This is really what I could do. And so we did all this other stuff, and I have a legal background, so I did go to law school. I used to be a law professor, and then I quit that. I quit being a law professor literally to, like, run my YouTube channel, which people find crazy, but that's what I do. I make more money than my friends that are attorneys, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like, and it's fun, and I make, you know, it's my life. In the next slide, I just wanted to share with you all a little bit of all the things that I share on my blog and the different categories of things that I cover. Now with the whole weight loss thing, everybody's like, oh, let me see your outfits. And I'm like, dude, I'm not a fashionista, but now I need to start. And so I watch my friend Mimi G Styles fashion, like sewing tutorials, like how to make garments and how to make cute clothes. And so it just branches off to where the point is that I literally make a living my life. Everything that I do and what I want to do, I make a living off of it. I share it with people, and that's what I do. I stay at home, I raise my kids, we live on a little farm, and we gather eggs every morning, and I do my own organic gardening and canning, and everything that I decide to learn, I teach people and I pass it on, and that's what I do. So down here, my 2 strengths, which I think are key, especially for DIY, and if you're really wanting to launch this as a business, is 1, that's what makes my DIY tutorial stand apart from a lot of other videos on YouTube and tutorials, is my clear and concise style of instruction. I do not assume that the viewer knows anything. So I do my videos in a way where, like, if you've never ever sat at a sewing machine before, it doesn't matter. You'll be able to make a maxi skirt. You know, like, you'll be able to make this new little tablet sleeve and stuff like that. And then also, as a business, those of you that are in the room, you probably have either a side job or a part-time, full-time job, and you're like, the business aspect of blogging will consume you. And as a creative person, that's the last thing you want. So I set up to where I have multiple revenue streams. So when I do get burnt out, I can sit back for a month and I'm still gonna make bread. You know what I mean? Like, I need to be able to make money in my sleep so I can then wake up and be inspired to design a new quilt. You know what I mean? Like, I cannot just be doing emails and billing stuff and invoicing all the time. So I think those 2 things are key. For a DIY tutorial, keep it clear, concise, make sure the steps are clear enough that people can follow, and set yourself up as a business model that you have multiple revenue streams and don't just bank off of sponsorships, off of a blogger network. You know, do your own thing and try to bring in that money from different streams. That's it.
I think we're done now.
Oh,
How I met you, like, one of her strengths is, I mean, the simplest thing, you know, like how to sew a purse. She has all the basics of what people want to know, and she has it clear and concise, and that's why you're so successful.
And that
at
is
it.
what it's for, my style. And you don't have to have fancy cameras. I mean, I uploaded videos for 2 years with a regular point and shoot. Right before I entered that YouTube contest that I was selected for, I was like, I cannot do an entry video for this competition with a point and shoot. So I taught like, we bought a new camera, I taught myself editing software in like 4 days and just put it together so I could have high quality. But I did not do that. And I think with the world of YouTube, we're all used to seeing ads run on videos, so that's okay. Nobody's, you know, people are used to seeing ads. You can monetize your stuff, it's fine. 2 is that because of this whole world of YouTube and Vine and quickie videos and iPhones and stuff, people are accepting that the quality not be television quality because they know it's just you in your house, you know what I'm saying? But if the quality of the content is there and you're answering the questions as they go along in the tutorial, that they can still, like at the end of the day, like, holy cow, I just made this, oh my God, they freak out, you know? If you've ever made something with your hands, you're like, oh my God, I made this, I made this. It's like, there's no better feeling for me as a crafter. It's like, I cannot believe I put these things together, and now it's like something functional and practical that I can use. And so just breaking things down, put yourself in that beginner's footstep, beginner's shoes, and ask yourself, like, if I had no clue what I was doing, could I follow this and create the project the same way they did?
That was awesome. I think if everyone is tweeting, if you're live tweeting right now from this session, you should do that. You should tweet this quote, make a living living your life. Because that's
I mean, there's
genius.
nothing, and there's so
That's
many
what we're all
people.
doing. You know,
Yeah.
I think we all have this thing inside, you know, you have a job and you're not happy. You're like, I want to do it, but I got to pay my bills, but how am I, you know? And I started little by little by little, and it's really inspiring for me to see the impact that I have on people. Like, there's people at home that see what I do. They see pictures of my kids. They're like, this girl's on the grind. She has kids at home, and she has 40+ farm animals. And so they write me, and they're like, you know what? I learned all these skills from your videos, and then I started an Etsy shop, or I just opened up my own blog, or I made your dress for my little girl, and now people are placing orders. So I'm like, I tell my husband all the time, like, dude, I create jobs. Like, there's people starting small businesses from the free things they're learning off of me on the web. So if we can give back to people, that's why. Like, you asked her if she sells her stuff. When people ask me, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna teach you how to make it. Because people automatically, they're like, oh, I can't do it, I'm not crafty. And like, I will tell you, I don't consider myself crafty. Like, her art, I mean, her drawing skills and all that, I ain't got that. I don't do all that, but I love to learn as much as I can about as much as I can. So I don't care what it is, I'm gonna learn how to do it, you know? And so I feel like once I learn something, I'm like, I can teach anybody how to do it.
Right,
So-
and we're not saying you have to be an artist either.
Yeah.
You have to really relate the DIY content to what your brand is
Whatever
and what
your
your
niche
website information is. So, you know, we're not Picassos and we're not artists, because I certainly am not. But
Yeah, I think, part of it is like people want to see themselves as relate to somebody, right? And I think that's why sometimes when you see the branded glossy type videos, I mean, they don't get very far. But then when you see somebody who's like, oh, this is how you make, buñuelos. This is how you make, a quilt or a teddy bear. I mean, it just goes so far. Like, for me,
They're hard to relate to when you see everything is
perfect.
yeah.
Exactly. So even like for myself, I'm a dad, so I was trying to cut my 2-year-old's hair for the first time, and I Googled it on YouTube, and it was just like so easy, and it was like boom, 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 I can do that. So it's being that resource and solving that problem for your fans.
Reinvent the wheel. You just, something simple, just do it, because people are always looking for the simple things, easy.
Cool.
Well, my name's Denise Cortez, and where I feel I differ on this panel is my background is writing, blogging, an art teacher as well. And I blogged since 2006. So I blogged for a good amount of time before I started kind of taking photos and incorporating things that I was making at home with my kids. Like you said, I have 6 kids, and my youngest is 8 and my oldest is 16, but they have been raised just in a creative household. I'm an artist. My husband is an artist, so we do a lot of things at home like that. And that's one of the main things that could you go back to the first slide, reading slide? I just kind of got like a little light bulb moment where I thought, just to fuse the two. So I have another blog called Modern Art for Kids, where I shared craft projects, school projects. And so I just thought I would fuse them together. And that's when I really started sharing craft and DIY projects on my blog. So my tagline is infusing art and culture into family life. And for me, that's a big thing, to share creative expression with my kids, with anybody's kids actually, because I teach children. So it's just encouraging creativity for kids to foster a sense of positive self-worth and image. Because just like what you were talking about, how you feel good when you make something, it's the same for a kid.
Mm-hmm.
They like to do things with their hands. They don't get that amount of time in school to do those things. So for me to do it at home and to just kind of have an open, creative atmosphere, my kids can practically teach a lot of the lessons that I do, because they're so well versed in what we do. And it's really important for me as a mom to teach my kids, you can do this, you can have a creative lifestyle for a living. Because I remember being a kid and wanting to do art, but thinking okay, how do I do that, And my mom was like, you have to go to college, you have to, and I thought I did that, but at the same time, okay, still, what do I do, So I want to just, that's one of the things that I really, really incorporate in my blog. But as far as blogging and incorporating the DIY, we can go to the next slide. So I wanted to share some of the top DIY craft posts, and someone asked me to paint a pair of Tom shoes, in 2008. I think I did a Tom's Style Your Soul event, and it went crazy. I mean, that's the top view, the top posts that I have on my blog are the Tom shoes. So to this day, I have an Etsy shop, so I do sell them custom painted Toms, and these are for autism awareness. So these are just one of the pairs, but I've done Disney characters, leopard print, Bible verses, scriptures, inspirational sayings, and Day of the Dead skulls. So anything you put on Tom, that's canvas shoes. So that's what I do, and that's a big draw for people, that they can get a pair of shoes and they can get fabric markers or paint and do whatever they want on their shoes. And there's a lot of people on Etsy that make these. So you can go to the next one.
I'd like to see a taco shoe request.
Right, exactly. This is another really big traffic, what's the word, bringer? A traffic generator. These Aztec print shorts, I'll leave that on daughters, they're 8 and 10, and they're like little mini fashionistas. But, you know, mama's not trying to go limited to and do all that stuff. So I said, we can make these things, so let's do it. So we cut stuff up at home, we draw stuff, we paint things on their clothes, and they get like the biggest kick to see things online. Mommy, those are like the shorts you made me. And I'm like, see, girl, mom's hooking you up. So these shorts were as simple as doing like a bleach, a dip dye on one side, and then painting, hand painting. You can do it with a stencil. You could in a tutorial. It was like 3 to 5 steps, I believe, and it was taping it off, or you can paint it by hand, and it gets a lot of views, and a lot of copies too.
So I have a quick question though. So when you do these projects, because I come from the TV world, so I have a different background. I'm always curious. Do you hashtag everything, like every single theme or subject? Like how do the people actually find that project online for you?
Well, I know we were going to talk about sharing some of the crafts, some of the sites that you can share. I shared it I submitted it to Craft Gawker, which is the site that you could submit your projects, and you submit like a brief description, you submit the photo, and then if they like it, they will put it on their site. And from there, I mean, I believe, from that point on, I did, but
and also trends. Like you look at Urban Outfitters, everything's Aztec this, Aztec that.
Yes.
It's the print. So you put Aztec inspired purse, Aztec inspired shorts, and then people are Googling DIY Aztec whatever.
Right.
So
and then
I
So you
hashtag.
consciously do hashtags. Right?
Yeah, hashtag denim, hashtag DIY, hashtag Aztec print, you know, or festival shorts. That was a big thing because last year, like you said, Urban Outfitters, they were like $56 for a pair of festival shorts, you know, and that was just last year's jeans that I cut for my daughters, you know. Was there one before that? Or
No, that was the next one.
This was one of the most recent craft projects that I did for Women's History Month. I saw this idea of little craft dolls. Someone had painted a set of Disney princesses. And I just thought that is just the cutest thing to have little, you know, Belle and Jasmine. And I said, I want to paint those little dolls for my daughter. I have an art background, so I paint and draw and things like that. And then I thought, well, you know, my daughters are at their age where I'm kind of done with the Disney princess influence. Let's do something that's going to teach them, you know, about culture and positive role models for them to look up to, Latinas. So I kind of came up with this idea. And it's Frida Kahlo, Selena, with her little,
Oh yeah.
her last outfit when she was, and then Sonia Cruz, and Dolores Huerta. Okay, so I went bananas doing these. And I'm telling you, I'm like a 3-hair paintbrush, like, yes, I must do this. Because they're 2 inches high. They're this big.
That's
so
funny.
a lot of people, they love them. They love them. I got lots of shares, Google+, Twitter, and Pinterest. And everybody's like, are you going to sell them? I want to buy them. Are you going to sell them? And I have a bigger plan for them. So I'm not selling them just yet. But I definitely have a bigger plan.
Cute.
And I plan to branch them out and do more other, you know, Latino role models. So, yeah, those are awesome. You're so cute and tiny. This is a dollar store project that I took on. It's just a dollar store mug. And like Kathy had mentioned, Day of the Dead, like for me, that's like the high holy day for me. Like you work all year long for Day of the Dead. And sugar skulls, so from what, like summer till around November 2nd, it's like sugar skull overdose. And with my daughter, we worked on this little drawing. I kind of gave her like a little starter. Let's do some sugar skulls. We did some outline. She colored it in, and you just put it in the sleeve. That was one of the tutorials that I did. Like Vanessa had mentioned, you know, clear and concise. I try to keep all my tutorials between like 3 to 5 steps with really clear, nice images. That is like photography. That is like key for anything. And we talked about this. I mean, there's tons of really awesome projects online, and I will look at them, and if it's bad photos, I'm like, no, you know, and because they're hard to look at, and they're not pleasing to the eye. They're not like enticing. They're not interesting. So you really, really have to think about investing in a good camera, a decent camera. Learn how to work it. Learn how to work your white balance and cropping and your color, and I mean all that. And that is going to take your post, that is gonna bring in a ton more viewers. I'd say I haven't really been shooting like with a good camera, maybe for like about a year now, but I have noticed a huge jump in my numbers every month, my submitting to Craftalker, cause that's, they'll accept you or they won't. And I'm like, why are you not accepting my photos? It drives me crazy. So I'll go and I'll photograph again and I'll crop it again and I'll send it in. So but that is really key, and that's what's gonna bring people to your site, and that's what's gonna make people pin or repin and pin on Pinterest a good image, because no one wants to see a crappy image, especially when they're trying to see what something looks like and that's gonna inspire them to make it. You have to have a really good image to do that, and that's my little munchkin's face too. You can go to the next slide. These are little tiles that I did for Christmas. My plan was to make family ornaments, Christmas ornaments, and they're pop art inspired. So I have, like I said, I have an art background, art history, and I love Andy Warhol. So this was inspired by Andy Warhol's pop art portraits, and I decided I was gonna do each one of my kids, and that's my husband right there in the middle. And those are my kids all around. And so these are little tiles, little wood tiles, and I was gonna put our faces, I painted them all by hand. I was gonna drill a hole and hang them on my Christmas tree, and I was like, girl, I am not gonna drill a hole in these, because I thought, I liked them too much, and I thought they were like little works of art, so I decided to save them like that. So, but it also became part of my banner, my header on my blog and everything. And another big draw are printables, free coloring pages on your sites. I do a lot of coloring pages for Day of the Dead. This is a mask, so you do your drawing, you put it on Dropbox or your Google Drive, and you allow your readers to download it for free, or you could charge them if you wanted to. And they print it out at home and they color it with their kids or whatever they want to do with it. You can make a garland. So when I do this tutorial, I give them options. Color it with markers, color it with oil pastels, make a garland out of it, make a mask, you can do whatever you want. And that just gives people an idea, because you think you give them the tools, but they want more than the tools. They want ideas, they want examples, and then they want to see it in context. So instead of just saying, here's a printable, print it out and color it, you also, can you go back really quick?
We're running out of time too,
Yeah,
FYI.
oh my God.
We got one more and then the questions. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so that was the mask. I don't want to take away from Martina's time. Okay, and the next slide is a DIY, a home DIY. I did that. It's a stencil. It was like an Aztec inspired stencil. As you can see, I took this like Aztec thing like to down. I just took it long, ran with it, and that's another project. So you can go to the next one. This is a kitchen towel that has skulls, and it was potato stamps. So this was a project that I had featured in an ebook for Day of the Dead last year. There you go. And this is another, like a home. So I don't just do art projects with my kids. I also do DIYs at home and projects to, you know, I can't go to Pottery Barn and do all that good stuff. So a lot of things is spray paint and stencils.
That's a good segue for me.
Yes.
Because I love all that. I have a completely different background from the panelists here, in the sense that I started on television doing home makeover shows and design segments. And I remember on Galavision back in the day, you know, I'm talking about maybe like 5 years ago, at least Univision was very behind in the social media realm. So they didn't let us put, you know, Twitter on our chyrons, our graphics. We couldn't really, you know, back then we didn't have Twitter accounts. And then towards the end of the season, all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, we have to get on social media. So I really lost the opportunity to build a lot of my audience being on TV, because by the time I got on board with that, the show was already, you know, basically in a different phase. I will say that I did fight it a lot as well because my career was on television as a decorator, as a designer, to inspire people to transform their spaces on a budget. And that's where my DIY angle comes into play. So I do consider myself a home decor and lifestyle expert, and I am the president of the Wow Factor Inc., which is the name of my design company. I did name it the Wow Factor because during my reveals and when I do private makeovers for clients, really the first word out of their mouth is wow. So I'm like, oh my God, that's a great name for my business. So that's what I named it, the Wow Factor. It focuses on room redesign, furniture shopping, color selection, decorative accessories, home staging, and design consultations. Now, my niche in the market was to do home makeovers in one day. I became inspired by Trading Spaces, the show on TLC years ago that the neighbors would stitch, you know, houses, and they would take 2 days to do a room with a budget of up to $1,000. And I'm like, you know what? I can do that. I can do it in one day. And I wanted to do it also for the Hispanic market because I figured at that point, you know, there was HGTV, there were all these design and lifestyle shows, but none were geared towards the Hispanic homeowner and the Latina woman. And I'm like, well, you know, my mom and everybody else that I know is just as proud as their home environment and deserve to live in a beautiful home that doesn't cost a lot of money. So I really purposely focused on doing that on the Hispanic market. Now, this is my segment that I have here locally. I don't know if you can click.
No, is it Wi-Fi?
No, it's not on
Oh,
Wi-Fi.
okay.
It should be embedded
All right.
within the thing at the very bottom. So I have a background in broadcasting. This is where I sort of am a little bit different in terms of how I got to this point in my life. So I wanted to be a host, a reporter. At that point, I was already dwelling in design by working retail. I worked in the home department at retail stores. I was doing visual merchandising and displays. And I did that because during the day, I also, as a creative person, you want to do so many things. If it doesn't play, it's okay. I also did acting, so you have to have a flexible schedule during the day to go on auditions and go on castings. So I worked retail at night. Long and behold, I worked in the home department, I did visual displays, and I'm like, oh my God, I can do this. I got really inspired. So when my agent submitted me to the local station down here, Channel 7, for an interview to be a reporter, I almost didn't go. I really didn't want to go because I just do not want to cover news. I'm all about entertainment and just having fun. But I'm like, you know what, let me go. I went, I met the VP of programming, and I pitched her the idea to do a lifestyle home makeover segment, and she said yes. So case in point, it's going to be 10 years in November that happened. Now, that being said, I transferred over to Univision because they saw me, they gave me a segment there as well. Then from there, I did Decorando Contigo, which was a half-hour full show on Galavisión. It lasted 5 seasons. And the whole point was that I wanted to, again, inspire the Latin homeowner to work with the pieces they already have in their house, to just maybe incorporate decorative accessories into the space, and you can get a nice, you know, finished outcome at the end. Anything at all?
It froze the system.
Okay.
What's popular
Great.
with yours is you show before and after.
Right.
Like that's another great tip for a feature is people love before and afters of seeing where it's all a mess and then showing how you can transform it, like
Right.
that closet door organizer.
Absolutely, and I don't know if you can try to get it up at least, because I mean, some of the photos are really cool, but my
the
whole
computer's not responding,
My
so
whole thing was, you know,
Just talk.
complete room makeovers under $1,000, and I broke down the decorating process from a decorating perspective, a DIY perspective, into 3 steps for the average homeowner. It's paint, furniture, and decorative accessories. So I always tell the homeowner, evaluate your space based on those 3 steps and see what element is missing within that one room. Because a lot of people I found was they just didn't know where to start decorating. It's like, do I start by painting the walls, or do I start, you know, if I spend $5,000 on a sofa, is that gonna make my house look like, you know, designer? I'm like, no, one sofa is not gonna make a big difference at all in the space. You have to have the whole picture. So I try to break down the decorating process for them, so at least I have a beginning. And I always tell them, find an inspiration point, so you have sort of a reference point. So if it's a toss pillow, if it's an area rug, if it's a work of art, use those colors that you see in that one item, and then have that be your inspiration to build the entire room around that. So again, I broke down the decorating process and on a step-by-step level, and as a consequence, I even produced 2 years ago a decorating DVD where I talk about that, and I did it in Spanish language. Because again, I keep saying this, I just feel with regards to lifestyle content and home makeovers in particular, there really is a void, if you compare it to like HGTV and all these other lifestyle networks, in content in Spanish language for the Latino viewer. As a consequence of having, you know, these platforms, I do write for magazines, Vista, I write for Latina Magazine, I've done advertorials. This is where we're talking about, you know, brands eventually will find you because they see that you know what you're doing, you have a passion for what you do, you inspire everybody that is following you, that, you know, is up to par with your work in terms of you know, that they know exactly what you're doing step by step. So the brands want to associate with you and your name and image. So I've been very blessed to also work on satellite media tours and represent many brands from Moen to, I've done work for Latina Magazine. As a matter of fact, with Home Depot, we did this whole thing on room makeovers for 4 issues. And that is, from a sort of money perspective, is where you have different, you know, cash flows. So I have, you know, TV work that the networks pay me for, but then you have like the brands that pay you as well to be a spokesperson. So it's a great avenue. Now, what I find now is that the step-by-step tutorials and building more of the website and the Facebook fan page is what people love, because if a person didn't happen to see your show that aired in that particular day, or they can't catch it on reruns, they can go to YouTube, but they like having a dedicated site where they can go and they want to see what Martin did next, or how did I transform this space. I can take a mirror that I bought, that I found in the garbage can for free, in the garbage dump basically, and I transformed it into a coffee table, which again, it's a shame. I gotta tell you, it's my first time working on a PowerPoint presentation.
What's your Facebook
And,
page?
and now I can't even show it after.
Do you have it on your Facebook page?
Do you guys have Instagram where we can visually
We
see
do.
your guys' stuff?
We do.
Yes.
You wanna
if
go over
you
it?
go to any of our sites, if you go to any of our sites, we all have the links on there. So just look in the program, and then you can see our websites, and we have links, and we all have a lot of more tips for you.
I think you're everybody across the board. I mean, Craftinos,
Craftichica.com,
Yeah.
Paramount, you can find me on all the platforms.
So we're gonna go ahead and come to a stop. You could talk to the Intercontinental for the IT situations. If there's one piece of advice you want to give, I'm not sure. There is. Just give one piece of advice before we leave. If you for anybody wanting to start their own blog or get into the DIY movement, what's the one thing that you want to give people to leave behind?
Okay, my tip is just to follow what your passion is, because that's what you're going to be best at. And share tips that you would want to learn yourself. Don't overthink it. Don't think you have to be a big artist or anything. If it's as simple as how to paint a coffee mug, just something simple that people will be inspired by.
I mean, since we've all given a bunch of tips, I'll add something new that I didn't mention earlier. One thing that I would suggest is, I think it's really important to give away our free stuff. You know, we have YouTube, you get tons of free videos, free tutorials. We were talking about the printables, which is a great idea. But one thing that I wish I would have done from the beginning was, when you do offer free content, say, in my case, I do a video project for like a cupcake mug rug that you can make. Well, the cupcake template, to trace how to make the exact cupcake, I put a link in the video description box for YouTube, and I have you click on that so you can download it, so you can print it and make the same cupcake. The same goes with printables. When you are offering free printables or free graphics or things that they can print out to use, set it up in a system where, for them to get the free download, they're agreeing to enter their email into an email database. That way, you're not just wasting all your stuff, because yeah, you're getting the views, you're getting the people to come back, but if I'm looking for a specific Aztec project, I come across your stuff, that's all I wanted to see. I don't care about what you're doing with your other stuff, whatever. But if I automatically get their email, now I can add them to my newsletter list. And that's another talking point, because when you reach out and contact companies about your stuff, you can tell them, listen, like for me, I'll say, like, this is how many YouTube subscribers I have. This is gonna go to this many people's email inbox. I'm gonna repost your content or whatever, your brand information, on my email newsletter. This is how many thousands of people I have on my email newsletter. And that way you're pulling people that may not necessarily follow you and your entire brand, but you've pulled them in because you gave them something. So it's like, give me your email address. And maybe they'll come, you'll send out something on your newsletter. They're like, oh wait, I do like that. So for online classes, if you're selling stuff on your Etsy shops, and so that's a lead for you to then monetize, even though you gave them something for free. You know what I mean?
I'll have to second what Kathy said. Do what you love to do and be authentic when you're doing it. I always say I'm not gonna do any kind of crafts that I don't like, that don't like get me pumped up and excited, because it just will fall flat. So do things that you want to do. If I see something that I want to make, like a lamp, or I want to stencil a rug or something like that, that's something that I want, that's something that I'll have in my home, that's something I'm gonna hang on the wall, or I'm gonna give to somebody as a gift, and I'm gonna make it beautiful. But just as far as just making things just to make it, because you wanna have content on your site and you wanna just put stuff out there, I wouldn't recommend that. Do things that you love to do that, like I said, that inspire you, because you're going to inspire other people in the process.
Same thing they all said. You have to do what you love, and it's your passion, and it's authentic. If you're fake in any way, people are gonna know. They're gonna know that you know what you're talking about. So you really have to transmit that passion by doing what you love, and trust me, the audience will follow you, because I realize that there is somebody out there that loves exactly what you do, and what you know, what you stand for, or what you build, or what you design, or what you make.
What's your Facebook page so we can see your pictures?
It's okay. It's Mark D'Amato, Home Decor and Lifestyle Expert. Actually, everybody here, I do have, free DVDs for you. So my social media stuff is in here.
All right.
You guys can see it at the end, okay?
Thank you all.
Thank you guys
Feel
for
free
your time.
to email us if you have questions.